There are some things in life that defy explanation. Moments so bizarre, so unsettling, that even years later, they cling to your memory like a bad dream. This is one of those stories, and to this day, I still don't know if what I saw that night was real. It was my freshman year of college. I had a few roommates, good guys for the most part. We got along, had fun, dealt with the usual annoyances. But there was one guy who stood out. Mike. Mike liked to drink a lot. And one night, his drinking led to something that none of us could have ever predicted. It was around 3 a.m. when I got back to the dorm. The whole way was quiet, except for the distant thump of music from some party still going on. I slipped inside our room, careful not to wake anyone, but the second I stepped inside, I froze. Mike was standing, just standing, over our other roommate's bed, not moving, not speaking, just staring. His silhouette swayed slightly in the dark, his head tilted too far to one side, arms limp at his sides. The dim glow of a street lamp outside cast a faint light across his face. His eyes were open, glassy, but there was nothing behind them. It was unsettling. I swallowed hard and whispered his name.
Mike.
His head snapped toward me, too quickly, too sharply. His neck cracked as he turned. His eyes locked onto mine. And then slowly, he lifted a single finger to his lips.
Shh.
The way he did it, it wasn't playful, it wasn't goofy. It was wrong. Then, barely above a whisper, he muttered something under his breath.
Fuck this guy.
I barely had time to process what he meant before I heard it. A soft, unmistakable sound. Liquid, dripping, soaking into fabric. I squinted in the darkness, and that's when I saw it. Mike was peeing on Rob. Rob was still asleep, completely unaware that warm liquid was spreading across his blanket, his clothes, his skin. Then, realization hit. His body jerked, his eyes snapped open, and in an instant, he lunged. 1 second, Mike was standing there. The next, he was airborne, launched across the room. He slammed against the far wall with a sickening thud, bounced off the desk and crumpled to the floor in a heap. Silence. Then, Mike stood up, slowly, calmly, like nothing had happened. His face was blank, no reaction, no pain. He didn't even look at Rob, who stood there, fists clenched, urine dripping down his arms. Mike just walked past him, got into bed, pulled up the blanket, and within seconds, he was snoring. Rob turned to me, then to our other roommate who had woken up by now. No one spoke. No one moved. We just stood there, processing what we had just witnessed. I don't know what disturbed me more, Mike's behavior, or the fact that he didn't wake up. Not when Rob grabbed him, not when he threw him across the room, not when he was shoved, shaken, or hit. He was out, completely, utterly unconscious. Or at least, that's what we told ourselves. For the rest of the year, we avoided talking about it. Mike kept drinking, kept laughing, kept being the same guy he always was. But sometimes, I would catch Rob watching him, staring at him, waiting. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, when the room was dark, when the world outside was silent, I would hear Mike whispering in his sleep, software incoherent, sometimes a quiet chuckle. And once, just once, I woke up and he was standing at the foot of my bed, just staring. I whispered his name.
Mike.
His head snapped toward me, too fast, too wrong. He lifted a single finger to his lips and whispered,
Shh.
"You ever make a mistake so bad that it haunts you for years?" I did. It started with a Craigslist ad. I needed a roommate. Bills were piling up, and splitting rent was the only way to keep my apartment. I thought I was careful. I screened people, met them in person, trusted my gut, and my gut told me this guy, let's call him Ryan, was normal. He was friendly, well-spoken, and had a steady job. An Army Reserve guy, no red flags. After a 3-hour conversation, my friend and I agreed he was the one. I regret that decision every single day. The first night he moves in, we're all in the living room watching TV. My friend, Sarah, the third roommate, is laughing at something on screen. That's when I notice Ryan, just staring at her, not normal staring. A cold, glassy-eyed, unblinking stare, the kind of look a predator gives before it pounces. I try to brush it off. He had a whole box of wine to himself. Maybe he's just drunk. Then, out of nowhere, he stands up and starts crab walking. Not a joke. A full-on, sideways, twitchy crab walk around the room. "Dude, you okay?" I ask. He stops, blinks, then grins. Too wide.
You can't tell me what to do,
He whispers, then louder.
I do what I want.
Okay, nope. We call 911. Cops show up, try to de-escalate. At first, Ryan's cooperative.
Yes, sir. I understand. I'll go to bed.
Then, snap, he flips.
You small-time pig cop. You think you're in charge? This is my house. I do what I want.
But he's on the lease, and acting like a lunatic isn't illegal. So the cops leave. Sarah and I sit outside, trying to figure out our next move. Do we kick him out? Can we? That's when we hear footsteps. Ryan emerges from the darkness, hands in his pockets. His eyes, I can't describe them. Like a mix of Jack Nicholson from The Shining and something worse, something hungry. A long silence. Then he smiles.
You know, maybe I should move out.
We don't breathe until he walks away. But it's not over. 2 a.m. We're locked in. Every door shut except the back. We tell him, use the back door if you need to come in. Instead, there's a boom against the front door. Then another.
Let me in.
Fists slam against the wood.
I'm a F. Ing Army.
We call 911. Again. But then silence. I peek outside. He's gone. But my heart stops. Sarah's car. The window is shattered. Property damage. A crime. This time the cops have to take him. They arrest him. We think it's over. But the next evening Ryan returns. He knocks. Calm, almost normal. He hands Sarah $200 in cash, packs his army duffel bag, walks out the door, and we never see him again. But sometimes late at night, I hear a voice, somewhere deep in my memory, like a whisper in the dark.
I do what I want.